Semper Fi, everyone! Welcome to the latest episode of Recon Jack. I'm your host, U.S. Marine veteran and historian Chuck Lynch. On today's special episode, I'll talk about a lesser known but equally as important battle that took place on June 6, the Battle of Belleau Wood. I know a lot of people immediately think of another major battle which took place 26 years later on the 6th of June. However, I will not yet discuss the important role in which the Marine Corps played during the pre-invasion of German-occupied France and further combat operations during the end of the summer 1944. For now, I hope to take you back to June 1918 with the great help of Moskin's book, U.S. Marine Corps Story, and many other first-hand accounts and piles of information gathered by other historians like me. The Battle of Belleau Wood occurred during the German Spring Offensive in World War I nearby the Marne River in France. That battle has turned into an important element in the lore of the United States Marine Corps. On 1 June, the cities of Chateau Thierry and Vaux were captured by German forces who also occupied Belleau Wood. The 4th Marine Brigade, under the command of U.S. Army's 2nd Division, organized a defensive perimeter alongside the Paris-Metz Road, with the 6th Marine Regiment set up on the left side and the 5th Marine Regiment waiting in reserve. That evening, German infantrymen pierced through the French Army's defenses to the left of the Marines' location. The 1st Battalion 5th Marines, under Major Julius S. Turrell, and an element of the Marines' 6th Machine Gun Battalion, directed a forced march of over 6 miles to fill the hole in the line before dawn. By the following evening, the Americans controlled a 12-mile front composed of grain fields and sporadic forests north of the Paris-Metz Road, from Triangle Farm westward to Lucy and then northward to Hill 142. German officers commanded their troops to move forward through Belleau Wood as part of a major offensive in which other units would travel across the Marne River. The commander of the 4th Marine Brigade, Army General James Harbord, ordered the Marines to hold where they stand. Now let me tell you something. This is just the beginning of hurry up and wait. With bayonets, the Marines dug shallow fighting positions from which they could shoot whilst in the prone position. During the afternoon of 3 June, the German infantry assaulted the Marines' positions through the grain fields with fixed bayonets. The Marines lay in wait until the enemy was within only 100 yards before opening accurate and precise rifle fire while in the prone shooting position, which terminated rows of German troops, forcing the remaining survivors to retreat. When the Marines were asked what they felt upon shooting the Germans within such a close proximity, you might wonder if they didn't just reply, "Only the recoil." Having suffered high casualties, the Germans dug into a defensive line from Hill 204, just east of Vaux, and northbound through Belleau Wood to Torcy. After Marines were continually encouraged to turn back by retreating French troops, Marine Captain Lloyd W. Williams of the 2nd Battalion 5th Marines uttered the now famous response, "Retreat! Hell, we just got here." The next day, commander of the U.S. Army 2nd Infantry Division, Major General Omar Bundy, took control of the American sector of the front line. On the night of 4 June, the intelligence officer of the 6th Marines, I know, intelligence, Marine Corps, doesn't seem to go together, but Lieutenant William A. Eddy and 2 men snuck behind German lines in an attempt to gather necessary details concerning the enemy's strengths and positions. They managed to collect information showing the Germans were strengthening their machine gun position and bringing in artillery for support. While these movements stated that an offensive was not necessarily probable at that point in time, they continually increasing forces were initiating a baseline of attack that escalated concerns regarding a drive toward Paris. I have to ask you folks a question. Do you think Wilhelm and Fritz were prepared for what the Marines were about to give them?
I'm in danger!
During the course of the ensuing 2 days, the 4th Marine Brigade repelled the incessant enemy assaults while the Marines continued to control the line north of Triangle Farm. At 03:45 on 6 June, that's 3:45 a.m. in the morning for you civvies out there, the Allies engaged in an attack against the German defensive positions before an enemy strike of its own could be delivered. The Marines attacked Hill 142 to stave off flanking fire against the French to their left. As part of the second phase, the 2nd U.S. Army Division was to capture the ridge overlooking Torcy and Belleau Wood, as well as to occupy Belleau Wood. Unfortunately, the Marines failed to scout the woods. As a consequence, Marines, they missed an entire regiment of German infantrymen dug into fighting positions, incorporated with a network of machine gun nests as well as artillery. I'm sure that mistake won't prove to be an issue later. What do you think? At dawn, 1st Battalion 5th Marines, under the command of Major Julius Turrell, intended to attack Hill 142. However, only 2 companies were yet set up in position. The advancing Marines fixed bayonets,
Battalion, fix bayonets!
traversed across the open wheat field, and many unfortunately were cut down by German machine gun and artillery fire. Now let me tell you, from my own personal perspective, when Marines are told to take a position, they at least think, well, if I die, at least I won't have to do this anymore. Captain Crowther, commanding the 67th Company, was killed instantaneously. Captain Hamilton of the 49th Company fought from wood to wood, battling the entrenched enemy and overrunning their objective. At this point, Hamilton had lost all 5 of his junior officers, with the 67th Company having only 1 commissioned officer remaining alive. Yet Hamilton reorganized the 2 companies to establish a powerful defensive sector. During the German counterattack, Gunnery Sergeant Ernest A. Jansen, who was at the time serving under the name Charles Hoffman, fought off 12 enemy troops, skewering 2 of those German sausages with his bayonet before the others retreated. For his bold actions while facing the enemy, while facing an overwhelmingly larger enemy force, he became the first Marine to receive the Medal of Honor for actions during World War I. Also distinguishing himself for advancing through enemy fire during the counterattack was Marine Gunner Henry Holbert, who was awarded the Army's Distinguished Service Cross. Yes, I know, even the Army seems to have loved the Marines during World War I, willing enough to give their second highest award of commendation. The remainder of the Marine Battalion soon arrived and took offensive measures. Turrell's flanks remained endangered, and the Marines were quickly exhausting their remaining ammunition. By the afternoon of 6 June, the Marines managed to capture Hill 142 at the high cost of 9 officers, as well as most of the 325 men of the battalion. The Germans had proven their ferocity, but the Marines simply were the best. That evening at 1700, the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, under the command of Major Benjamin S. Berry, and the 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines, under the command of Major Burton W. Sibley, to the right, advanced forward from the west into Belleau Wood. Again, the Marines were to advance through a waist-high wheat field into machine gun fire. I'm telling you, these guys just can't catch a break. One of the most famous and often uttered quotes in Marine Corps history came during the initial step-off for the battle, when First Sergeant Dan Daly, the already famed Marine recipient of 2 Medals of Honor for separate actions in battle, encouraged his men of the 73rd Machine Gun Company forward with the words, "Come on, you sons of bitches! Do you want to live forever?" If you haven't realized it yet, we Marines are a stubborn bunch. The first wave of Marines, who were pressing forward in a well-disciplined formation, were unfortunately slaughtered. Major Berry was wounded in the forearm during the advance. On his right, the Marines of Major Sibley's 3rd Battalion, 6 Marines swept into the southern end of Belleau Wood and encountered heavy enemy machine gun fire, sharpshooters, and barbed wire defenses. Marines and German infantrymen were soon engaged in hand-to-hand fighting. The casualties sustained on this day were the highest in Marine Corps history up to that time, outnumbering the casualties combined of all previous wars and battles prior to that point. Some 31 officers and 1,056 Marines of the 4th Marine Brigade became casualties. However, the Marines now grasped a toehold in Belleau Wood. Other than bayonet blades and buzzing bullets, I can only imagine what was going through the minds of the defending German soldiers as they continued to watch the determined Marines assault their lines. Alongside the 5th Marine Regiment during the onset of the Battle of Belleau Wood, armed not with a rifle or machine gun in hand, but a pen and paper, was American war correspondent Floyd Gibbons. His telling of the battle, in which he submitted, had actually violated wartime censorship by mentioning that he was serving with the U.S. Marines. A seasoned journalist of the Chicago Tribune, Gibbons and his masterful piece added to the already formidable reputation of the Marines. While attempting to rescue a Marine, he became wounded during the battle after being struck by German gunfire in his left arm, left shoulder, and left eye. Made to lie in the open wheat field for 3 hours until the cover of darkness, Gibbons wondered whether or not he was dead. With his left arm and hand numb and his left eyeball split in half and lying on his cheek, Gibbons used his right hand to pinch himself for reassurance. He was indeed still alive. However, the news censor, having believed Gibbons to be dead, concluded that it would be a crime to cut the last dispatch of Gibbons' life, so he decided to let it go through as written. For his undaunted courage, valor, and bravery under fire in the battlefield, he was awarded France's greatest honor, the Croix de Guerre, with palm. I hope you enjoyed today's special episode of Recon Jack, and perhaps you learned something new. I definitely have only scratched the surface of this topic. Furthermore, I will return at some point in the near future with part 2 of this episode. Please stay tuned for more episodes as I continue to explore the hallowed history, traditions, and individuals of the United States Marine Corps. Please feel free to also like this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment in the section below. I look forward to hearing back from you folks and interacting. Also, be sure to tell a friend or family member. And until next time, Semper Fi, and carry on.